is Khomeini?
Yeah, sorry. The Shah, the former monarch of Iran, the Pahlavi dynasty, which came into power in the 1930s, deposing a previous dynasty that had been around for a couple hundred years. And his father brought in that dynasty, and then it was eventually, he was deposed by the British and the Americans, who felt he was getting too close to the Nazis during World War II, concerned about supply routes for the Nazis, oil. And his son was installed on the throne at a very young age, I believe 18 or 19. And he ruled Iran from that period, 1941, 1942, around that time, all the way through 79. A great ally of the United States over time, eventually, and was overthrown in a revolution, and by Khomeini, who was a senior cleric who had been a thorn in the Shah's side since the 60s, was exiled first to Turkey, then Iraq, then ultimately to France, right outside Paris, actually. From there, he basically led the revolution that led to the Shah's removal, ouster in 79.
And how was Iran different when the Shah was in power versus when Khomeini was in power?
That depends on who you ask. It was a constitutional monarchy. The Shah had powers that exceeded beyond what we think a constitutional monarchy has today, like in Great Britain. He ruled with an iron fist when he needed to. He was an authoritarian, but he also was one that was rapidly modernizing Iranian society, wanted to make it more like the West, using Iran's immense oil resources and wealth to really accelerate development, building of social institutions, healthcare, literacy, modernization, all of those things. That was his focus, make Iran more like the West. And in that sense, he succeeded, but it came at the expense oftentimes of civil liberties for many people. It came at the expense of freedom for those who wanted to essentially practice religion, Islam, Shia Islam in their own way. The Shah was not hostile to religion, but his policies were inconsistent with where the traditional